We know that you.
Well, you asked if I was weaponizing the FBI, and I am not. I'm giving you the hard, concrete examples of the men and women putting handcuffs on bad people, doing harm to our children and innocent Americans. I do not see weaponization.
You have placed on leave FBI employees responsible for the investigation of January 6th. That sounds political to me.
I have not placed anyone on leave.
Thank you very much, Chair Moran. It's good to work with you and Ranking Member Van Hollen in this new position, so look forward to both of you and the work on this committee. You know, the FBI does really crucial work to keep our nation safe, whether it's stopping criminal organizations or domestic terrorists, protects our nation's secrets, it prevents cyber attacks, keeps our children safe from harm, and a lot more. So this is really sober work with extremely high stakes. And I'm concerned that instead of focusing on the incredibly important mandate to keep Americans safe and to help impartially enforce our laws under your leadership, Director Patel, the FBI has been weaponized to go after Americans who disagree with the president. FBI resources have been diverted away from combating terrorism to focusing on immigration requests. And all of this, the diverted missions, the fewer resources, fewer agents, heightened politicization, is happening now under your watch, and it is, I believe, making Americans less safe. Now, let me just start with the budget. As Ranking Member Van Hollen noted earlier, this hearing is being held without the FBI's fiscal year 2025 spend plan and a full budget request for fiscal year 2026. The spend plan is required by law. It was due to Congress over a week ago. We have not yet seen it. That is really absurd. The FBI is our nation's leading law enforcement agency, a budget of $10.7 billion. It is critical that we understand how you are spending taxpayer dollars. So, Director Patel, when should we expect this FY25 spend plan for the FBI? Have you seen it? Have you reviewed it? When will we get it?
I'll get you an answer, ma'am. I don't have a timeline on that.
It was due last week by law.
I understand.
And your answer is you just understand. You're not going to follow the law?
My answer is that I am following the law, and I'm working with my interagency partners to do this and get you the budget that you are required to have.
And you have no timeline?
No.
Well, we also need a full budget request, not a single paragraph full of wild talking points that we saw with the skinny budget proposal. We're now having a budget hearing without a budget request. So, Director Patel, where is the FY 2026 budget request for the FBI?
It's being worked on, ma'am.
Have you reviewed it? Have you approved it?
Not yet.
When will we get it?
As soon as I can get it from my interagency partners and get it approved.
6 months from now?
I don't know, ma'am. I'm not going to make up a timeline.
Well, how do we as Congress do our budget and our work without that request and without the spend plan?
Well, ma'am, I'm here. I'm doing the best I can. I can't make up answers. I'm going to commit to you to work on getting you the information you need.
Well, that is insufficient and deeply disturbing. No response?
I've given my response.
Well, the FBI is already down 1,900 employees since 2023 as a direct result of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. And under the Trump administration, FBI agents, analysts, linguists, cyber experts, and scientists are being asked to do a lot more in order to keep us safe. Director Patel, we all know that budget cuts will reduce the FBI's ability to counter threats of terrorism, and it will hinder its ability to keep pace with firearm background checks and shutter operations that combat violent crime, drugs, gangs, and transnational organized crime. Now, I understand that you told our House colleagues yesterday that you don't want to reduce the FBI workforce, meaning that you disagree with what President Trump is proposing?
No, I agree that we can sustain the mission with the proposed budget, and I agree with the budget. And as I said yesterday, I believe that what I said was I can do more with more. And I gave examples of what more we could do if we were given more.
Well, it's different than what you told the House yesterday. So what are you communicating to the President and the White House about what you need? And again, we don't have a budget request from you, so I'm not sure what you're asking us for.
I'm not asking you for anything at this time.
You can operate without a budget?
I never said that.
Well, this is unprecedented. Okay, well, let me just go to another topic since you're not going to answer that. The FBI partners with state, local, and tribal law enforcement organizations. They provide critical intelligence and operational capabilities to combat violent crime and gangs and terrorist threats, fentanyl trafficking, challenges that our local communities really can't face alone. I'm going to give you an example. A few years ago, the Southeast Washington Safe Streets FBI Task Force worked with our Benton County and Franklin County Sheriff's Office, multiple Tri-Cities police departments, and the State Corrections Department to carry out one of the largest ever drug seizures in the region's history. Now we've got an administration already cutting more than $800 million in assistance in 2025 to local law enforcement organizations while proposing a $500 million cut for the FBI. Director Patel, can you explain to this committee how cutting resources for our local law enforcement partner agencies the FBI relies on to help your bureau keep safe? How do you expect the FBI and local law enforcement to do more without those significant resources they need?
The FBI will continue to do what it does, which is work with embedded state and local law enforcement officers in our Joint Terrorism Task Force, in our Safe Streets Task Force, in our gang task forces. Those are a priority. Those billets have been maintained. Those billets have not been reduced. And with my reorientation, reprogramming that we've notified Congress to, you will see an augmentation in the field in every single state in this country.
Well, again, we need to see the numbers and we need to see that budget from you. Let me ask you about the NICS system. The FBI is really on the front lines of keeping guns out of the hands of very dangerous criminals. The NICS serves a really critical role in enhancing national security and public safety by conducting background checks. You know this. They are supported by the vast majority of American people, and I wanted to ask you this morning, will you commit to continuing to fund and run the FBI background check system?
Yes.
Thank you. I want to ask one final question here, Mr. Chairman. I want to talk again about how the FBI is focusing its resources. President Trump has turned the Department of Justice into a tool to go after his perceived enemies, and many of the actions we have now seen at the FBI are alarming. The FBI has reassigned and pushed out career FBI agents for political reasons. We have seen fear and intimidation promoted throughout the Bureau, including by polygraphing your own staff. We've seen the arrest of a sitting judge in Wisconsin. And during your confirmation hearing, you committed that there would be no politicization, no retribution at the FBI under your leadership. You've reportedly placed FBI employees responsible for investigation January 6 cases on leave. Is that keeping up your promise of no politicization, no retribution?
It is, because that's wildly inaccurate. Let me tell you what the FBI has done since I got there. 8,276 federal arrests, to 820 kilograms seized of fentanyl. That's enough to kill 250,000 people. Over 3,000 firearms seized, 350 gang cases, 3,000 cases against violent criminals.
That's not my question. We know that you...
Well, you asked if I was weaponizing the FBI, and I am not. I'm giving you the hard, concrete examples of the men and women putting handcuffs on bad people, doing harm to our children and innocent Americans. I do not see weaponization.
You have placed on leave FBI employees responsible for the investigation of January 6th. That sounds political to me.
I have not placed anyone on leave who has not violated their ethical obligation or their oath to the Constitution.
So if they were investigating January 6th, you believe they were violating an ethical obligation?
Nope. I think the common theme here is you putting words in my mouth, and I'm not going to tolerate it, nor will the men and women of the FBI.
Well, you did place on leave an analyst responsible for investigating Russia's meddling in the 2016 election. Is that politicization? Is that retribution?
No, not if she broke the law or the ethical guidelines. I don't know which case you're talking about, but that's the standard. And we will hold ourselves inwardly accountable, and we will not be strayed from our mission because people think we are politicizing the Bureau. If you want to talk about someone who was attacked by a weaponized Bureau, you're looking at him. And now he's the director of the FBI, and he's cleaning it up.
Well, I would just say to everyone who's listening that the FBI needs to be focused on its mission to keep the entire country safe. It should not be weaponized for partisan political gain. Thank you,
We are.
Chairman.
Senator Kennedy.
At the end of this tense back and forth between Kash Patel and Senator Patty Murray, what we're left with is more than a disagreement. It's a snapshot of the widening gap between how our leaders think the FBI operates and how the American public feels about the agency's direction. This wasn't just a budget hearing, and it wasn't just a policy review. This was a clash between two different realities, two different interpretations of the truth, and two fundamentally different visions of what the FBI should represent. Senator Murray walked into this exchange armed with numbers, deadlines, mandates, and a long list of concerns about the direction of the Bureau under Patel's leadership. Her stance was clear. She believes the FBI has lost focus, lost transparency, and lost neutrality. To her, the Bureau is being stretched thin by budget cuts, redirected missions, missing spend plans, delayed financial reporting, shrinking workforce numbers, and what she sees as creeping politicization from the top. She pressed Patel on missing budget documents that are required by law. She pressed him on why he didn't have timelines, why he hadn't reviewed or approved key financial requests, why Congress is being asked to build a budget blindfolded. And when Patel gave short answers, she grew sharper, more frustrated, insisting that these evasions were deeply disturbing and unprecedented. Her message was unmistakable. The FBI cannot protect a nation when it cannot even produce its own legally required budget. Patel, on the other hand, came in with a completely different posture, firm, defensive, and clearly fed up with the narrative that the FBI under his command is weaponized or corrupted. He pushed back by describing concrete action, fentanyl seizures, gang takedowns, violent crime arrests, counterterrorism work, gun recoveries, and thousands of operational successes that he believes prove the FBI is focused and functioning. His message was equally clear. The men and women of the FBI are doing their jobs despite political noise, not because of it. When Murray accused him of politicization, he didn't just deny it, he challenged the accusation head-on, saying she was putting words in his mouth, saying he wouldn't tolerate misrepresentations, saying anyone he placed on leave violated rules, not politics. And when she suggested removing agents tied to January 6th and Russia investigations looked political, Patel fired back by insisting ethics violations, not retaliation, were the standard. This wasn't a polite disagreement. This was two leaders talking past each other, each convinced the other is missing the real crisis. To Murray, the crisis is internal. Missing budgets, unclear priorities, politicized decisions, agents sidelined, and the Bureau drifting away from impartiality. To Patel, the crisis is external. False narratives, mischaracterizations, political attacks, and a public being misled about the real work being done on the ground. And the tension between those two worldviews exploded in every question, every answer, every interruption. But beyond the heated tone, beyond the frustration and the political pressure, today's exchange reveals something deeper, something America feels far beyond the walls of any Senate hearing. It shows how fragile public trust has become. It shows how deeply divided the perception of the FBI has grown. It shows how the agency charged with enforcing the law is now caught in a crossfire of accusations, expectations, and ideological battles. And it shows a truth far bigger than Patel or Murray, that the FBI's credibility isn't collapsing because of one man or one budget request. It's collapsing because both sides believe they're fighting for the soul of the institution. Murray believes she's fighting against a politicized bureau. Patel believes he's fighting to restore one. Murray believes transparency is missing. Patel believes the Bureau is doing more with less. Murray believes accountability requires answers. Patel believes accountability requires action. And in the middle of that storm is an American public that just wants to feel safe. Safe from crime. Safe from terrorism. Safe from foreign threats. Safe from political manipulation. Safe from government overreach. And right now, none of them are hearing the same message. That's the tragedy of this hearing. It's not that they argued. Arguments are normal. It's not that they disagreed. Disagreement is expected. It's that they're describing two completely different FBIs, and both of them expect the American people to trust theirs. But trust isn't built with tension. It isn't built with missing budgets. It isn't built with accusations. It isn't built with silence. Trust is built when leadership confronts problems instead of defending narratives. Trust is built when oversight gets real answers, not evasions. Trust is built when Congress and the Bureau stop fighting over who is politicized and start fighting to rebuild the neutrality everyone claims to want. Because at the end of this hearing, one truth stands above all the noise. America doesn't need an FBI that sides with the left or the right. It needs an FBI that stands above both. And until that becomes the priority, these clashes won't stop. This distrust won't fade. And these hearings will keep sounding exactly like this one.